Hi guys, how are you? Teacher Mario here. Before today's lesson, please check out our Instagram account abcenglish.tv where I share grammar notes, exercises, and more for you to do on your own pace. The links will be in the description. Now we are going to start with the third topic from Unit 3, Connecting Contrasting Ideas. Conjunctions are words that join words, phrases, or clauses together to help provide coherence to writing. They can be used to connect elements between or within sentences and from one paragraph to the next. Conjunctions can be used to give more information, give alternatives, give reasons, give results, or give unexpected information. There are three basic types of conjunctions: coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunctions. Today, we're going to focus on subordinating conjunctions like in spite of, despite, even though, although, however, nevertheless, and on the other hand. Subordinating conjunctions help form complex sentences by indicating a cause and effect relationship, a shift in time, a shift in place between two clauses, or contrast. They also illustrate the importance of the independent clause and provide a transition between two ideas in the same sentence. Now, keep in mind that subordinating conjunctions that appear in the middle of a sentence are usually not preceded by a comma. However, when the subordinating conjunction appears in the beginning of a complex sentence, a comma is used after the dependent clause. Now, in order for all this to make sense, we will dive in directly into our first two conjunctions, in spite of and despite, which are synonyms. These two are used to express a contrast between two things and to express an unexpected event. They are both more common in writing than in speaking. Despite is a little more formal than spite of. Keep in mind that they are only followed by a gerund or a noun. They are placed at the beginning or in the middle of your sentences, following the punctuation rule I mentioned earlier. For example, number 1. In spite of all the well-lit streets, it's best to be careful at night. Number 2. It's still a wonderful place to visit, despite the crime problem. Number 3. I got the part in spite of having no experience. Number 4. We enjoyed the trip despite the bad weather. Now, even though and although are used to introduce a fact or something that's true that might be unexpected. Even though is a stronger form of although, and it is used when breaking logical expectations is more surprising. Keep in mind that they are placed at the beginning or in the middle of our sentences, following the punctuation rule I mentioned earlier. For example, number 1. She didn't get the job even though she had all the necessary qualifications. Number 2. I enjoyed the course, although I would have liked more grammar practice. Number 3. Even though I cycled to work, I don't feel very fit. Now, however and nevertheless. However and nevertheless are both transition words that can be used to indicate a contrast between two ideas or statements. Usually the first half of our sentence contrasts or opposes the second half. These two words are synonyms, and their biggest difference is that nevertheless is a little more formal and emphatic than however. Also, nevertheless is not used as often as however in everyday conversations. Nevertheless is rather used in academic or business writing. Keep in mind that however and nevertheless should be preceded by a period or a semicolon, and then followed by a comma. For example, number 1. The summer is beautiful here. However, it's terrible in the winter. Number 2. This is a great city. Nevertheless, or however, it is too crowded. Number 3, I'm a vegetarian. However, sometimes I eat fish. Now, lastly, on the other hand. On the other hand is used to show two sides of an issue, but it doesn't always describe an opposite situation. When on the other hand is used, the first sentence on our paragraph often begins with on the one hand. However, this is not mandatory. For example, number 1, living in a cold climate is difficult for some people. On the other hand, there are many fun winter activities such as sledding that you cannot do in a warm climate. Number 2, on the one hand, the development of new technology has made our lives easier. On the other hand, it has also resulted in the development of weapons that can kill large numbers of people. Notice the punctuation rule for on the other hand. After the first clause, we use a semicolon and a comma after on the other hand to tell apart side A from side B of the described issue. Now, to begin an adverb clause, use although or even though. For example, number 1, I would like to live in a small town someday, even though I love all the opportunities in big cities. Number 2, although I love all the opportunities in big cities, I would like to live in a small town someday. To begin an independent clause, use the transition words, however, nevertheless, or on the other hand. Note the punctuation with transition words. For example, number 1, I love big cities. However, or on the other hand, I would like to live in a small town someday. Number 2, I love big cities. Nevertheless, or however, I would like to live in a small town someday. Now, to begin a noun phrase, use the prepositions despite or in spite of. For example, number 1, despite all of the opportunities in big cities, I would like to live in a small town someday. Number 2, I would like to live in a small town someday in spite of all of the opportunities in big cities. Please make sure you practice, and if you have any doubt, let me know down on the comment section. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future lessons. See you on the next topic.